Tonight on Murder, She Wrote.
It's beautiful here in Cabot Cove, and it's going to be great publicity to be in this golf tournament.
It's just too much hullabaloo for me.
I can't be in the tournament with him. You know I can't even stand to be in the same room as him. And we all know wherever he goes, my soon-to-be ex-wife follows.
The only way to get around the creative clause of your contract would be if you rolled over dead.
Now there's an idea.
I've had it.
All right, everybody, break it up. Go to your separate corners and cool off, will you?
Listen to me, please. You have not been telling the truth, the whole story. Cue theme music. Introducing the cast of Parody. I'm your narrator, Tanya Graham, with Becca Eaton as Jessica Fletcher, Daniel Britt as Sheriff Morton Leslie, Mary Pat Carletti as Maureen. Taylor Davis as the reporter.
Yay!
Dan Doerger as Betty Jensen. Randy Marksbury as Deputy Floyd and the mayor. Donnie McGovern as Thomas Steele. Sarah Smith as Sue Montana. Tony Staubach as Max. Ted Weil as Dr. Seth Hazlitt. With special guest star Joan Steer as Elaine Ray. Tonight's episode, Par for the Courts. It's dusk in Palm Springs, California. As the sun sets over the ocean, a man pours 2 drinks. He hands a drink to an older woman. She accepts the glass, takes a giant gulp, and throws it across the room.
I won't be disrespected like this after gracing the stage for over 30 years. How dare they treat me like that?
They're complete fools. They wouldn't know good talent if I slapped them in the face. You're a star, a vision. They should be so lucky to have you.
Oh, and for her to betray me like this. I won't stand for it, Max.
What are you going to do, Elaine?
Well, the only thing I can do, I'm going to go there, and I'm going to settle things once and for all. I won't stand to be humiliated this way.
Yes.
Max? Oh, Max.
That's the Elaine Ray the world should know and love. I'll book the tickets right away. It's Cabot Cove, right?
Yes, dear Max, Maine, and we'll leave first thing in the morning.
End scene. It's a bright, clear morning in Cabot Cove, Maine. Jessica Fletcher is leaving her house and walking into town for breakfast with her friend, Dr. Seth Hazlitt. As they make their way into town, they see a large hand-painted banner for a celebrity golf tournament this week. A journalist sees Jessica. And quickly turns to take her picture and call out her name.
Jessica, over here. Are you ready for the tournament this weekend?
Oh, my. This tournament has our town overrun with these nosy busybodies.
Now, Seth, this intrepid young lady is just doing her job. Yes, I'm ready to hit the greens and raise money to purchase new books for our local schools. Now, if you'll excuse me, my friend and I are going to take a bite to eat before breakfast. No, we're going to have breakfast and bite to eat before breakfast is what we're going to do. Jessica and Seth make their way into the local diner, which is quite crowded with people who are clearly from out of town, as well as locals looking to get a glimpse at some movie and TV stars. After squeezing through the crowd, Jessica and Seth sit down at the counter.
By the looks of it, you'd think Al was giving away his famous Maine blueberry flapjacks. All these Hollywood folks are just a little too much for me. They bring with them too many photographers and the like. They're nothing but attention hogs. How did you get all these people here anyway?
Well, in all my travels on book tours, I've made a lot of friends, and it's for a good cause.
Well, it's all just a little too much hullabaloo for me. Jess, are you going to get any practice time in before you play in the tournament tomorrow?
I'm afraid not. Unfortunately, I'll just have to wing it.
I can't be in this tournament with him. You all know I can't stand to be in the same room as him. And we all know wherever he goes, my soon-to-be ex-wife follows.
Thomas, relax. That's the beauty of golf. No rooms. You'll be too busy in the fresh New England air to even know they're here.
I've said it once and I'll say it again. I'm sick and tired of your little antics for the sake of a little press.
Thomas, are we even in the same industry? Drama in the press is exactly what keeps stars alive. And with criminal suspicion on the ropes and the ratings, a little tabloid coverage might just save your career.
I don't need to throw myself in the gutter to save my show. Everything will be fine. I've got it under control. Now you better not pull something like this again, or I'll...
Thomas, is that you?
Oh, Jessica, good morning.
Making his way across the diner. The patrons are in awe of his stunning appeal. A photographer takes a picture.
Oh, where is it?
A photographer takes a picture. Seth is staring at him with his mouth open.
Oh, it's always lovely to see you, Jessica.
Hello, Thomas. You're looking well. I'd like to introduce you to my dear friend, Dr. Seth Hazlitt.
Yes, hello.
Hello?
I'm quite looking forward to the tournament kickoff luncheon later this afternoon. It sure is a beautiful weekend for some golf. Who is your friend here? Hello. I'm Jessica Fletcher.
This is my agent, Sue Montana.
How do you do? I'm such a big fan, JB. I've read all your books. They're fabulous, and so are you. Have you thought about taking your books to the big screen? Who's representing you?
I'm flattered, Miss Montana, but I'm afraid my mind is somewhere else this morning. This weekend, my focus is going to be on my short game. I'm just going to hope to be under par at this tournament. Thomas, thank you both for coming to Cabot Cove and supporting our school.
Oh, yes, anything for you, J.B. Fletcher. Just make sure to dedicate your next bestseller to your dear friend, Thomas Steele.
Yes, I'll have to have a little more time to think about that after the tournament's over this weekend.
Indeed you will. You'll have to excuse me. I'd like to get a move on and stretch my legs before the tournament, you see. The fresh air is simply intoxicating. It was lovely seeing you this morning, Jessica.
It sure was a pleasure to meet you, JB. Please, take my card.
Yes, thank you. It was lovely meeting you, Sue. Goodbye, Thomas.
Bye.
Jess, was that the Thomas Steele? From the television program Criminal Suspicion?
Why, yes, Seth, that was. Is that why you were so short with him? I didn't know you watched primetime TV.
Well, not necessarily. I heard about the show from a patient of mine. He was going on and on about this TV show about a tough New York cop, so I tuned in for an episode and I was hooked. And now he's here to play golf in our Cabot Cove.
Seth, just earlier you would talk my ear off, insisting that you didn't care about celebrities.
No, I don't care about celebrities, but Thomas's character always seems so tough, yet relatable. Don't you think?
Yes, Seth, he is a perfectly fine actor.
Well, don't you like him?
Oh, no. I wouldn't say that. He's always had a little bit of temper that can be off-putting at times, but no bother. I'm sure we'll have a good time in the tournament.
As Jessica and Seth leave the diner, a limousine pulls up and stops in the middle of the street. Two celebrity siblings, Vinny and Maureen Jensen, emerge from the car. They're adults, dressed in coordinating outfits. They're bickering in sing-song fashion about the lyrics to a song until they spot Jessica.
Jessica! Good morning! So this is your Cabot Cove, the one you talked so much about. It is beautiful here, simply breathtaking.
Hello, Benny, Maureen. So lovely to see you both. Thank you so much for coming to the tournament to help our schools. It wouldn't have been an event without you two.
Oh, you're too kind, Jessica. By the way, I just adore your newest book, Death Tolls at Midnight. I couldn't put it down.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Benny, Maureen, meet my dear friend, Dr. Where did he go? Dr. Seth Hansen.
I hope I didn't run over.
I met these two while I was on a book tour in Las Vegas, and they were promoting their memoir about their lives growing up as musicians in their family's band, the Jensens.
Right. And right now we're working on some new music for a reunion tour that starts next month.
We're gonna get that country moving again, grooving again, grooving again.
Yes, that's certainly something. All right, pleasure to meet you.
I look forward to seeing you at luncheon. We've got to be off to fetch my golf clubs.
Bye, Jessica.
Jessica waves goodbye as she and Seth part ways with Vinny and Maureen. Based on the way Seth is walking, it couldn't be fast enough.
Good Lord, woman, how could you stand to be friends with them? Want to get the country grooving again? Let's be serious.
Now, Seth, Vinny, and Maureen are quite lovely. And that was one of the Jensens' hit songs from way back when. Besides, what makes you such an authority on music? I can't remember the last time you ever even sang.
Exactly. Because if you did, Mrs. Johansson's pack of hounds would be howling right along with me.
Jessica and Seth make their way through town to get her golf clubs. Vinny and Maureen stroll the opposite way through town, while Sue runs up behind them.
Hey there, gang. So glad you could make it here on such short notice.
Good Lord, so you startled me.
So great to see you. It's beautiful here in Cabot Cove, and it's going to be great publicity to play in this golf tournament.
What a great way to kick off our reunion tour. We're grooving again.
Good, yeah.
This place is just buzzing with activity. So many reporters. And when they find out that Maureen is going to be at the same tournament as her soon-to-be ex-husband, they'll go wild. Oh, I should be able to book an interview with Entertainment Tonight within minutes.
Does my darling Thomas know we're here?
Yes. And he's furious.
Perfect.
That's my girl.
Yeah, we're sticking it to the man who cheated on my sister. We're doing it. Hey, Maureen, quick question. Can you give me and Sue a couple of minutes?
What?
Yeah, just a couple of minutes. I shouldn't be too long.
John, why would you want to have...
Yeah, no time to explain. The tournament lunch should start soon. You can go grab a cup of coffee or something. Go check out the docks. Yeah, I'll give you the whole story later. Okay, I promise. See ya. Bye.
Vinny grabs Sue and they leave Maureen looking flummoxed.
Smooth. Real smooth. Sinatra could take notes from you.
Yeah, I know.
People evacuating the Titanic moved with less urgency than you just did.
I get it. I am just nervous.
Well, you should be. We need a new plan. Remember that big break you were looking for into TV? Well, it's not today.
What? But my audition went great. You told me the network loved me.
The network wasn't the problem. The executive producer of Criminal Suspicion happens to be the star of the show. And he had no interest in adding a younger, more attractive sidekick to the next season.
Steal! This was going to be my big break. I have been dying to get out of these sequin jumpsuits and do something a little more macho. Now, I want something that's just my own, before it's too late. Now, this show is exactly what I needed to make sure the world knows me for something more than just getting the country grooving again. Now, we just have another problem on our hands.
That's all I need this weekend. More problems. What now, Vinny?
She doesn't know.
She doesn't know?
Yeah, you heard me. She has no clue I even auditioned. Maureen's got everything riding on this reunion tour, and she'd be furious to know I tried to work with her estranged husband, so I haven't figured out how to work it into a conversation with her.
Well, she's going to find out sooner or later you're all going to be in the same golf tournament in a few hours.
I just have to figure out a way to tell my sister, and quick. I don't want our inevitable family reunion to blow up in my face.
End scene. Commercial.
It's the commercial.
Oh, look,
Here's the commercial.
For 45 years, they agitated the nation and each other. Theirs was an unlikely friendship born of a shared passion for the ideal of equality for all. Theirs was a relationship that had to endure the cruelties and harsh political realities of the 18th century America. They were Susan B. Anthony and Frederick Douglass. Their story is the subject of The Agitators by playwright Matt Smart, and it's coming to the Falcon stage running March 20th through April 4th. This moving yet often humorous tale tracks the pair's turbulent decades-long path to abolish slavery and give the vote to women. Visit falcontheatre.net to reserve your seats. Some restrictions apply. Not valid with any other offer. Void where prohibited by law.
Maureen is in town, tinkering with flowers at the floor shop's outdoor stand. She is lost in thought when Jessica bumps into her after picking up her golf clubs.
Oh, Marie, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you there. The tournament hasn't even started, and these golf clubs are already trying to get away from me.
Oh, that's quite all right, Jessica.
It seems as though your mind was miles away from here until I blustered in. Tell me, is everything all right?
Oh, it couldn't be better. I am fine. What do I have to worry about? I'm going to see Thomas for the first time in months. I'm staring in the face of a rock-solid prenup that's going to leave me with nothing once little divorce comes through. And, hang on a minute, what's that say? And I'm headed on a tour that I'm 15-year-old to do. So it's nothing a little New England sea breeze can't cure.
Yes, that sounds quite stressful. I'm so sorry to hear about your separation from Thomas. I remember things were very rocky between the two of you when I saw you last.
Sorry? Goodness, don't be sorry. Jessica, I couldn't be happier. Last time you and I saw each other, I could barely see straight. I was so angry. I was angry all the time at him, at everything.
That is quite unfortunate. And what's this you say about the tour? Too old? Never. Don't let those Hollywood stereotypes stop you. The energy you have on stage is so effortless and youthful.
Oh, Jessica, you're too sweet. It's not the stereotypes that are getting me down. I love singing. But I am very much past the kid sister role. I am an adult now. I'm ready to use my threatening talents for something other than boas and tiaras.
I see. So this reunion tour is a way for you to save up some money after the divorce while you come up with your next move.
Bingo! You're such a clever detective, Jessica. When Thomas left me for one of his younger women, I thought my heart would be broken forever. I thought my life was over. But thanks to my brother Vinny, I see a little bit of hope. The reunion tour isn't exactly what I want to be doing at this stage in my life, but I need the security so I can finally close the book on this chapter and move on.
Well, here's to new beginnings. And I'll see you at the luncheon later today. It's so nice talking to you and so strange to have some alone time with you. I almost never see you without your right-hand man.
Yes. Vinny has been gone for quite a while. I wonder what he's up to.
End scene. We now go to Quail Run Golf Club, a golf club located on the coast of Maine. A red and white striped lighthouse welcomes members who arrive by sea. And several yachts are nestled into the docks. A Adjacent to the docks are lush trees and a world-class golf course. Weil Run has gone all out for the celebrity golf tournament, with signage and decorations welcoming the players. The grounds are teeming with people. Journalists. Celebrities. And the citizens of Cabot Cove trying to get a peek. Inside the clubhouse is an ornate reception hall for the luncheon. The waitstaff is dressed in black and serving guests a variety of hors d'oeuvres prior to the start of the meal. This is where we find Cabot Cove's devoted sheriff, Mort Metzger, overindulging on the mini lobster bakes. He's trying to be subtle, but it's not working as well as he'd hoped. Jessica enters the reception hall and catches him immediately.
How was yesterday's catch agreeing with you today, Sheriff?
Oh, well, look at that. You should know better than to sneak up on a police officer.
Oh, better yet, I should know better than to sneak up on a man enjoying an abundance of hors d'oeuvres.
And this is some spread they've got here. The lobster bake is unbelievable. Weil Run's head chef always has her act together, and this is a delicious new item in the rotation.
I'm glad one of us can focus on food. I'm so nervous. Sheriff, I can't thank you enough for being my caddy this afternoon.
Sure thing, Mrs. Consider it my show of gratitude for all the help you've given me over the years. And besides, I'm a long-time member of Weil Run, so I know all the ins and outs of every hole on the course.
That's welcome news, Sheriff, because I'm going to need all the help I can get. Golf isn't exactly my forte.
Happy to be of service.
Deputy Floyd abruptly joins the conversation, holding his own plate stacked with hors d'oeuvres.
Oh, hey there, Sheriff. Mrs. Fletcher. Have you tried the bacon wrapped shrimp? They're delicious.
No.
How long have you been here? We only need one officer for security detail, and last time I checked, you pulled the short straw.
Weil Run called the station. The crowd outside got bigger than they expected.
Well, fine, but you go back outside. We're going to polish off the food before all those stars even get here. That is, if the food doesn't end up all over the floor first.
Copy that, Sheriff.
How about I bring a doggy bag back to the station? And if this luncheon wraps up, huh? Floyd, extra bacon?
Sure thing, Sheriff. And maybe I'll get an autograph?
As long as you're outside on security detail and not knee-deep in finger food, I'm a happy man.
Metzger begins to survey the perimeter of the luncheon. As more celebrities, agents, and reporters begin entering the reception hall, Sue finally catches up to Thomas, who just walked in. Jessica watches from afar.
There you are, Thomas.
Sue?
Oh, what's with the sour face, Thomas? Are you still angry with me about the news I shared with you earlier?
You know the history I have with Vinnie Jensen. He's a showy, big-mouthed fool who can't be trusted. And for you to have the nerve to invite him here.
Last time I checked, you hired me for my nerve. And besides, why do you have to feel so on edge about this? Lighten up, Thomas. I can't believe that between your estranged wife and her brother, it's Vinnie you have the biggest problem with. You're better than him in every way, and everyone knows it.
You're damn right I am.
But keep it up with the glaring, because here come the Jensens now. The tabloids are going to eat all of this tension up like these mini lobster bakes. Get one while you can, by the way. They're delicious, and Lizzie Cameron from House Rules is over there sucking them up like a vacuum. She's never going to fit into her gown at the Emmys at this rate. Yikes.
Thomas rolls his eyes as Sue walks away. Thomas, seeing Maureen and Vinnie walking in and grabbing drinks, approaches Maureen after Vinnie leaves her side to talk to a reporter.
Maureen.
Leaves her side to talk to a reporter.
Maureen, you're looking well.
What do you want? Need my lawyers to finalize those papers a little faster for you and your jailbait can run off and spend another weekend in Monaco?
Quite the opposite, my dear. Lauren is old news. I want you back.
What?
I've been a complete fool. I miss you, your radiance, your spark of energy.
And you need something.
Well, my show is in trouble.
Here we go.
And you're what's missing. You were there with me from the beginning, creating the concepts and the characters and the stories. You built Criminal Suspicion from the ground up, all from behind the scenes.
Well, I'm going to need some time to think about this. No. Never in a million years.
Please, won't you reconsider?
What? Reconsider? Ha! That's a laugh. Why didn't you reconsider when you decided to hire that girl onto the show? Why didn't you reconsider when you accepted her advances, bought her jewelry, the plane tickets, and then you got sloppy enough to go out in public with her? You're the one who asked for the separation, not me. But now I'm asking you for the divorce, and you can't stand it that I finally realized I can live without you.
The argument continues, but luckily it's not loud enough to stop the bickering. Sue sees Jessica standing off to the side, observing the room, and approaches her.
Never took you for a wallflower, JB.
Let's go on over here.
Oh,
Yes.
them?
Yeah, sorry.
Hopefully they get louder so it ends up on Inside Edition this Monday.
Well, I've never understood Hollywood agents. How can you wish such a thing? Divorce is never pleasant, and for it to be so public, I couldn't imagine.
That's showbiz, JB. Let me give you the annotated version. Thomas Steele's flagship show is about to fizzle out unless he makes big changes. Fast. The network wants him to add new blood to the show, but Thomas isn't having it. Add a sidekick, a love interest, anything to get people to tune in. But Thomas won't have any of it.
You must have your hands full. I've never known Thomas to back down once he thinks he's right.
Stirring up a little controversy about the lead actor is the only trick up my sleeve that I've got left. My agency's demanding I turn this stubborn mule back into a cash cow, but I'd rather put him out to pasture. Thorn in my side doesn't even begin to cover it.
Just then, the reporter from earlier in the morning approaches.
Sue, did you hear? Hurricane Elaine is coming and she is not happy, not one bit.
You've got to be kidding me.
Does she even play golf? Oh, this morning she landed in Portland and announced she is headed this way to enter the tournament.
That would be a sight to see. I can't imagine her getting through 18 holes in 1 week, let alone in one afternoon. She would spend entirely too much time regaling the crowd with stories about her illustrious career. I'm her agent, and I've never finished a call with her in under an hour.
And like it's on cue, here she comes now.
Enter Elaine Ray and her assistant Max. Elaine breezes into the room as if she were floating on a cloud, while Max walks behind, looking on with great adoration.
Elaine! What brings you to Cabot Cove? We've never seen you at a golf tournament before.
Hello. How delightful I am to see you. I certainly couldn't pass up an opportunity to support my dear friend, J.B. Fletcher.
Hurricane Elaine is such a pro. She always knows how to make a grand entrance. I didn't know you two were so close.
Neither did I. I can't say we've ever met.
Oh, Elaine, is there any comment on why
You're nothing without me! You'll be penniless and living out of a tour bus singing at state fairs for the rest of your life, and you know it!
The entire room has stopped. Vinny looks over, enraged, and moves to play. Sue approaches the nearest cameraman and physically moves his arm to aim his camera at the fight. Maureen looks stunned, but not hurt. This is a different version of the same argument they've had for years. The only person who looks comfortable with the tension is Elaine Ray.
What do you want? Oh!
Next. Thomas, you
Elaine, keep your nose out of our business.
I'm not talking about your failed marriage. We all saw that coming years ago after you divorced your third wife to marry this young thing.
Then I haven't the foggiest idea why you just slapped me.
Max, darling, my glasses.
Yes, I wrote it.
Elaine is simply too old and too haggard to play my love interest on this show. My character would never be attracted to a woman who's old enough to be his mother. Thomas Steele, I'm 3 years younger than you are. And you represent me, but you represent him. And if you represent him, you cannot pay attention to the interest in me, and so I cannot put up with any of this, so it's either him or it's me.
Elaine, cut me some slack here. You know Thomas has a reputation for being impossible.
Yes.
Whether it was adding you as his love interest or Vinny as his sidekick, he would never share the spotlight with anyone else.
Adding Vinny.
Oh, come on, Sue. Seriously?
You auditioned to be his sidekick? What do you mean? What?
But you'd never budge in a million years, would you, Thomas? The only way to get around the creative clause of your contract would be if you rolled over dead.
Now there's an idea. Ooh. Oh, gosh, it is. My bad.
Yes, darling.
What was going to happen to the tour if you got the pot? Were you going to leave me to hang out to dry?
It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something macho and cool. Now, you know I've always wanted to flex my acting muscles.
Now, Elaine, will you just calm down? You're making a complete fool out of yourself.
Me?
Yes, you.
So you mean you got the chance to jump out of a helicopter while shooting at the bad guys? You totally forgot about how Thomas treated me for all those years? You wanted me to work with this jerk?
Well, when you put it like that, it does sound pretty bad. But you know, the reunion tour was my idea to help you get on your feet. But the closer the tour gets, the more... the higher your voice gets, apparently.
How dare you speak to her in this way? Elaine could act circles around you. You tacky ass, no one gets away with treating her this way.
Yeah.
Not while I'm around.
Yeah.
Who is this? Some obsessed fan? Be gone with you.
That's it. I've had it.
Oh.
Right, everybody, break it up. Go to your separate corners. Cool off, will you?
Nothing would... Oh, that's not me.
Sure. May I call you? Sure. I have always had such a deep, patriotic respect for a man in uniform, but you must understand, this is the actress in me. I'm called upon by a higher power to bring emotions to spectacular life. I can breathe the enraged fire of a dragon. I can weep inconsolable tears of joy. It's simply what I do. I'm deeply, deeply sorry for the chaos my arrival has caused.
Ma'am, I appreciate that, but do me a favor. Keep a tighter leash on your assistant if you don't mind.
Your wish is my command. Sure.
That's for you. We'll walk it off. Clearly, you've got a lot of friends here.
Clearly.
Hey.
And you know what? I've changed my mind. All of you can clear out of here for all I care.
Nothing would make me happier, Sheriff.
Thomas leaves in a huff.
For once, I agree with my husband.
Maureen gives Vinny a solid glare before leaving the clubhouse. Sue turns to the cameraman.
Please tell me you got all of that.
End scene. Commercial.
She had her feet on the ground, but kept reaching for the stars. Her name was Henrietta Lovett. It was a time when scientists had no interest in the scientific findings of women until a man could claim credit for them. A decade before American women won the right to vote, Henrietta joined a team of unsung female astronomers at Harvard University Observatory and laid the groundwork for measuring the light and distance of stars, work that is still cited today. Henrietta's story, Silent Sky, by playwright Lauren Gunderson, will be the closing production of Falcon Theatre's 2019-2020 30th anniversary season. Silent Sky opens May 1st and runs through May 16th. Visit falcontheater.net to reserve your seats. Some restrictions apply. Not valid with any other offer. Void where prohibited by law.
It is now evening, and Seth and Jessica are eating dinner at the Quail Run Clubhouse. They are deep in conversation as Jessica has given Seth a full rundown of the events from earlier in the day. They are nearing the end of their meal.
Thomas Steele got slapped today at the luncheon
Yes, Seth.
by Elaine Ray, the Elaine Ray.
Mhm.
She was going to be Thomas's love interest on Criminal Suspicion.
Not really. Thomas nixed that idea. He's the executive producer on the show. Elaine flew all the way out here to confront him about it. She must be holding quite a grudge to do that.
Elaine Ray is here. What a world. She's such a classic beauty. A little over the top, if you ask me. But did you see her in the movie The Beginning of Oblivion? There wasn't a scene she couldn't steal in that one.
Dr. Seth Hazlitt, after all these years, you still find ways to surprise me. When did you have time to watch all of these things, these movies, these things?
You know, here and there. Yes, I finally remember where I've seen that man before. I didn't recognize him because his face is so sour.
Who is it?
Getting the country grooving again, fellow, from this morning. He and his sister, and the two of them were quite herky.
Good heavens. Seth, has he been sitting at that bar all this time, the entire time by himself? We should invite him over to join us.
Well, he looks like the wind has been taken out of his sails, for sure. Solitude is probably what it wants, Jessica.
Well, come on now, Seth. You can't leave him there all alone. Oh, Vanny! Yes, Vanny! Why don't you come over here and join us?
Oh, thanks for inviting me over, Jessica, especially after what happened at the luncheon. I am so sorry about what happened. Now, as you can probably guess, Thomas and I have quite the history. We used to be best friends, but it was long ago.
Vanny, I never knew that. I'm so sorry. Is there any hope of reconciliation?
I don't know. He doesn't trust me, and I don't trust him. Well, not when it comes to my sister, at least.
And if you don't mind me asking, why doesn't he trust you?
Because I'm the reason that Maureen found out about Thomas's fling.
Oh.
Now, you see, Jessica, I went to meet him on the set one day, and I walked in on him in his dressing room with that girl. I was so angry. I confronted him about it. I told him that he had to break it off, and he said that he would. But he didn't. He broke his word with me, so I set him up.
So then you set Thomas up to be caught by the paparazzi. How did you do it? Why did they do it? You knew it was only going to hurt Maureen.
At that point, it was time to rip off the Band-Aid. They'd been fighting for months, and so I took matters into my own hands. Now, Maureen told me that Thomas always came home late on Thursday nights. So I gave a reporter a friendly suggestion to follow Thomas from the set on a Thursday night. Thomas got himself into trouble through his own behavior. I just helped him get caught.
I see. How did Thomas find out you were the informant?
I flat out told him.
Not very subtle, are you there, buddy?
Dr. Hazlitt, have you ever seen the Jensens perform? Subtlety isn't exactly on our family crest.
Yeah.
That's why I would have been so great on Criminal Suspicion. That show is really not known for its subtlety now, is it? But all of that doesn't matter anymore. I just want to patch things up with my sister.
Maybe a nice evening walk will do the trick to clear your mind so you can think of what to talk and what to say to Maureen. So, just Seth was just about to drive me home. Why don't you walk with us out to his car?
Sure, Jessica. That sounds really nice. I've just been up in my room all afternoon brooding.
Vinny, Jessica, and Seth make their way out of the restaurant. It is just finished drizzling. And as they exit to the parking lot, they see Sue outside of her rental car and talking on her mobile phone.
The only way to solve this problem is to off him. It's the easiest solution, and I'm out of better ideas. It's just time to cut him. Oh. Hey, gang. Didn't see you there. We're not done here. Lovely night, isn't it? Are you still looking for Marie?
Yeah, have you seen her?
Oh, no, I've had my hands full. Looking forward to finally getting to some golf tomorrow. I'd like to stay and chat, but it's getting late.
Yes, well, we'll see you bright and early in the morning.
Right. Night off.
Excuse me, Jessica, Dr. Hazlitt. Can I please have a moment alone with you?
Yes, of course. We are just leaving.
Jessica and Seth head to his car. As Jessica is about to get in the car, she watches Vinny and Maureen from afar. From afar.
Maureen, I am so sorry about everything.
Oh, don't worry about it. Water under the bridge. I haven't been a very supportive sister either.
Oh, so you forgive me? Then what's this face for?
I need your help. I've made a huge mess of things.
It's pitch black on the first green of Weil Run's golf course. The only light to be seen are the moon and the stars after the green being drizzling, until the golf cart comes blazing down the course at full speed. The driver spins something large in the back of the cart. The golf cart pulls up to a sand trap, and a body is thrown face down into it. The mysterious driver quickly leaps back into the golf cart and speeds away. End scene. It's another beautiful morning in Cabot Cove at Weil Run Golf Course. The mayor of Cabot Cove is standing on a small stage in front of the first hole. He's there to kick off the tournament.
Welcome all to our fair town, Cabot Cove. We're so happy to be hosting the first ever celebrity golf tournament to support our local schools. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for coming all the way from Hollywood. The stars have really come out for this weekend. I'd also like to thank Cabot Cove's preeminent author, Ms. Jessica Fletcher, for organizing this entire event. And all I have left to say is, four!
The audience in the stands, as well as the celebrities gathered around the stage, applaud. The crowd in front of the stage begins to disperse as celebrities begin to tee off at the first green. Elaine floats over to Jessica and Sheriff Metzger.
Oh, Jessica, how are you? Oh, Sheriff. Wonderful to see you again. This seaside landscape really brings out the color of your eyes.
Good morning, Elaine. Yes, it's a beautiful day for some golf. Tell me, are you skilled in this sport? Oh, I'm not particularly an expert.
In fact, I do have some experience. Back when I was still talking, I was known to golf with Lonnie Anderson in Bel Air. And I must admit, I'm a little rusty now. Maybe the two of us can share your caddy. I haven't seen my Max since last night.
Yes, I had noticed he was missing. It looks as though we are missing Maureen Jensen and Thomas Steele as well.
Who can blame them? After that explosive fight, surely there must have been a passionate reconciliation. Well, when Burt Reynolds and I were still an item,
Jessica, Metzger, Floyd, and everyone on the green rushed to the sound of the screaming. When Jessica, Metzger, and Floyd make it to the scene, there's a crowd of people around a body, face down, in a nearby sand trap. Sue, Vinny, and Elaine are part of the crowd.
All right, everyone. All right, give us some space here. Floyd, call for backup. Oh, get Dr. Haslett. Oh, and when you're done with that, secure the crime scene. Who discovered the body?
My cameraman and I were getting some B-roll on the course, and we found this body lying here. I think it's a man.
Oh,
Sheriff, who is it?
Metzger flips over the body, while the right side of his face is covered in sand and his head is bloody. It's obvious that the dead man is Thomas Steele. And scene. Jessica is walking the perimeter of the crime scene. Seth stands up from his initial assessment of the body to consult with Metzger.
Yep, that's a pretty nasty head wound he's got there, and he reeks of liquor.
Oh, how long do you think he's been dead, Doc?
Well, it's hard to say until we get the coroner's report.
Give me a guess. A ballpark estimate.
Well, I'd say anywhere between 8 and 12 hours, thereabouts.
And the cause of death?
Without looking at the entire body or running a toxicology screen, looks like blunt force trauma to the head.
Any idea of the weapon?
Well, something strong enough to finish him off in one blow. Other than that, Sheriff, we'll need to wait for the coroner to examine him.
Jessica has walked a little ways up the green from the crime scene.
Come here! I may have found something!
Sheriff Metzger and Seth catch up to Jessica. There are deep divots in the green, like tire tracks.
This is odd. What do you think these are? Are these golf tracks? Golf cart tracks? It did lightly rain last night.
Well, that would make the most logical sense. They're not big enough to be car tires.
Golf cart tracks seem to be the deeper here, as though it's headed towards a sand trap. That means when you look closer around the sand trap, the tracks aren't as deep. Suppose the murderer transported Thomas's body down the green, disposed of it there in that sand trap, and then drove away.
That one explain why the depths of the tracks changing. Cart's load got lighter. We need to find out where these tracks lead. I'll call Floyd.
I should go check on Maureen to see how she's doing after her fainting spell.
Yes, of course, I'll join you. There were a few things that are puzzling me.
End scene. Back at the clubhouse, all celebrities, agents, and reporters are required to stay on the Fairfront property. Everyone is a suspect. The room is buzzing with hushed activity. Maureen looks pensive and is sitting at a table with Vinny, Sue. Is in a corner talking on her mobile phone, and Elaine is quietly talking to Max by a window as he discreetly rubs his nose with a tissue. Jessica, Seth, and Metzger walk into the room, where Seth begins examining Maureen.
Attention, everyone. As of right now, no one is leaving this golf course until I get some answers. Now, this is an active crime scene, and we will be questioning all of you. Now, I got a few starter questions to warm up. You there! Where were you this morning?
No, Sheriff. You can't believe that my Max has anything
With
to do.
all due respect, ma'am, I was talking to Max. And you account for your whereabouts this morning?
Sheriff, I'd be happy to answer any questions, but would prefer to do so in private without all the reporters around.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm sure that could be arranged. Hey, come with me. We'll find an office around here somewhere. I'd prefer if we had this chat alone.
Elaine is about to argue, but relents. She begins floating around the room in her normal fashion, hovering around Jessica. Jessica walks over to Maureen while Vinny is up, pacing behind her.
Maureen, I can't tell you how sorry I am. Maureen, I can't. I forgot your name once, and because I'm older now. Maureen, I can't tell you how sorry I am for your loss. This must have been quite a shock. How are you doing?
Thank you, Jessica. I am feeling much better.
She just needs to take it easy today, and everything will be just fine.
I just don't understand who would do such a thing. It's all so horrible. Jessica, promise me you'll find the killer.
Well, I'm not a detective, but I'll do my best to get to the bottom of this. In fact, I have a couple of questions that you might be able to help me with.
Oh.
After dinner last night, I overheard you talking with Vinny in the parking lot. You mentioned something about a mess you had to make. Do you mind telling me what that was about?
I didn't think anyone had heard that but Vinny. I prefer not to talk about it.
Maureen, you don't have to say anything. Jessica is not the police. Please, Jessica, can't you see my sister is upset? Couldn't these questions wait until later?
Yes, of course. Forgive me for intruding.
Well, I think Maureen and Vinny are trying to hide something. Don't you?
Yes, it's all very puzzling.
I know what she's hiding. It's so obvious, isn't it?
I've found that in situations like this, nothing is ever what it seems.
The tension between Thomas and Maureen was so explosive last night, and after the performance Maureen just gave, I'm certain the two of them did a little dance in the sheets, if you get my meaning.
My word, do you really believe
Yes,
that?
please, darling, the script practically writes itself. The two of them went back to Thomas's room for a nightcap under the guise of a truce to look over the divorce papers. One thing led to another, and the passions got the better of them, and tell me I wasn't the only one who saw how Maureen blushed the moment you asked her about last night. Her tryst must have been one to remember, because she turned beet red.
Will you knock it off? My sister wouldn't do that. She was in her room all night. Now the mess she made was some red wine that she spilled on a rug. In her room. Nothing as salacious as you are making it out to be. Now will you two old hens mind your own business?
Stop it! I'm so sorry, Jessica, Elaine. If you'll please excuse me.
Maureen rushes Vinny out of the room.
I'm rushing you.
Oh, we're...
Sue wraps up her phone call and strolls over to Jessica and Elaine.
Benny Jensen, what a smooth operator. He's like a bull in a china shop. Don't listen to a word he says. The two of you are stars. Classic Hollywood starlets. Elaine, I hope we can still work together after this mess is cleaned up.
Now, pardon me, sir. You may call it Sue, not sir. I'm so sorry. I did not even mean that. I have new glasses. It is all a mess, but what has happened here is murder. We need to treat this more seriously. Now, I'm curious. Just last night you were talking about offing somebody on your phone. Were you referring to Thomas?
I was absolutely talking about Thomas. But not in the way you're thinking. I was on the phone with my agency back home trying to convince them that his character needed to be killed off to save the show. They can back me up on this. Just call them.
Is that so? Now, I would never have dreamed of accusing you of murder with such a little circumstantial evidence, but I do appreciate you for clearing that up. You two will have to excuse me, but I need to check with the sheriff. No, it's...
Can I go too?
Yes, it's... No, wait. It's quite all right, Lane. You stay here. I'll make sure Max is being taken care of.
Please do.
Sheriff Metzger and Max are cloistered in the small back office of the clubhouse. Max looks as though he's been crying. Jessica walks in.
on, Max. Spit it out. Where were you this morning?
It's like I told you I overslept.
What a crock. You were hiding Thomas Steele's body, weren't you?
What? No. Is there a tissue right here? I lost my handkerchief. My allergies are killing me.
Then, Max, please explain to us how you overslept. You're so devoted to Elaine Ray. I can't imagine that you would be late to such an important event. Did you take too many antihistamines?
What? No. No, I would never do anything to risk not being on time. Elaine hates tardiness. I've never been late for any appointment for Elaine. Not even once. I don't understand why this happened. I explicitly asked the front desk to wake me up at 6:30 a.m.
That is quite baffling. Yes, Sheriff, what?
Max, you're free to go right now, but don't leave the golf course until I say so. Not even for Benadryl. You got me? Boyd found our missing golf cart.
Oh.
We found it on the lake on the 5th hole. All you could see was the roof of the cart, and didn't see any clues, though. Not until a few officers finished searching the driving range. There's a lot of blood there. So we're sending it to the coroner to see if it's a match for Thomas's blood.
You didn't open with that? Come on. Let's go see if we can find more evidence.
End scene. Jessica joins Metzger and Floyd for the investigation of the driving range. There is a considerable amount of blood in one shooting bay. Metzger walks past the bloody bay and sees something in the grass.
Here. These are the same kind of tracks we found where the body was dumped.
And still no sign of a murder weapon.
Seth enters the driving range, holding some papers.
Coroner's finished his report. Thomas was heavily intoxicated at the time of his murder. He also had some bumps and bruises in various places, which indicates the sign of a tussle. But it was indeed the blunt force trauma on the right side of his skull that killed him.
Any idea of the time of the murder?
Oh yes, it was narrowed down, just slightly. Thomas had been dead for about 12 hours when we found him.
So the murder took place sometime around 9 or 10 o'clock. Time to start collecting alibis.
Sheriff, would you mind if we search Thomas's room first?
Great idea, Mrs. Evans. Let's go.
End scene. Jessica and Metzger are in Thomas's room, which is tidy, with a few exceptions.
Hello, hello. Wait. Okay. Thomas's briefcase. Look at this mess of papers. There's divorce documents in here, as well as criminal suspicion contract. There, and then over here at the minibar, it hasn't been disturbed at all.
Huh. Then he must have been getting liquored up somewhere else.
Not quite, Sheriff. Over here. I found an empty bottle of wine and 2 glasses, one with lipstick on it.
The two of them went back to Thomas's room for a nightcap under the guise of a truce to look over their divorce paperwork.
Couldn't be.
Just then, a noise comes from the other side of the hotel room door. Metzger reaches for his gun, but Jessica stops him and motions to hide in the closet. The mysterious person enters the room and walks around searching for something. Through the slats of the closet, Jessica and Metzger cannot see who the person is, until the two of them burst from the closet to catch the intruder.
Freeze! Police!
This is not what it looks like. Then what is it? Don't you think it's time to tell us what's really been going on? What's really been going on?
Oh, it's you can tell us all about it when we officially question you.
Oh,
take her to the clubhouse office. But be discreet about it, okay, Floyd?
I just can't believe it.
I know. Little Maureen Jensen, a killer? Who would guess?
Oh, no, not that. I can't believe Elaine was right.
Maureen and Metzger are in the makeshift questioning room in the back office of the clubhouse. Jessica has gone to the restaurant to fix some tea for Maureen. Jessica begins talking to Vinny.
Vinny, take a minute and talk and think this through. Sheriff Metzger is a clear-headed investigator. He simply needs to put together a timeline of what happened last night.
Well, with you on the case, we can be sure the right guy gets caught. I get it. Thanks, Jessica.
You're quite welcome, Vinny.
Jessica offers Vinny a cup of tea. He takes it with his left hand.
Thanks for that. And sorry for what I said earlier. Sometimes I can be a little hot-headed.
I hadn't given it a second thought. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to get this tea to Sheriff Metzger and Maureen in the back office to help calm everyone down.
I have the script in my briefcase back in my room if you'd like to look it over.
Oh, yes, Max, dear. Now, where is your room again? It would be helpful for me to know since you apparently got lost this morning.
I'm in room 414.
Wonderful. I'll be by later to look at it. It's probably a role fit for an old hag. That's all they're sending me these days. Jessica, hello.
Oh, hello, Eileen. Aileen.
Can you believe that my Max is under suspicion for murder? How ghastly. Since his little discussion with the sheriff, Max has been positively beside himself with worry.
I can assure you, Max is hardly really a suspect. There are many people that Sheriff Metzger is questioning. Now, if you'll excuse me, I am going to take this tea to Sheriff while he thinks over the crime.
Please, you have to believe me. I may have slept with him last night, but I didn't kill him.
It's only the sheriff in there?
Now, Elaine, you mustn't say a word of this to anyone, not to Max, and especially not to any of the reporters.
Oh, my lips are sealed, Jessica. We can keep this just between us. Just two detectives on the case. Happy slipping.
Surely you don't think Maureen is capable of murder, do you, Sheriff Metzger?
Oh, come on, Mrs. F. You saw exactly what I saw. 2 glasses of wine, one with lipstick on it. The very shade of lipstick you were after when we caught you breaking into Thomas's room just a few minutes ago.
Maureen, listen to me, please. You have not been telling us the whole story. Now, I believe you when you say you didn't kill Thomas, but we can't track down the real killer without an accurate timeline of last night's events. Please, tell us exactly what happened last night.
All right. After the scene at the luncheon, I couldn't decide who I was angrier with, Thomas or my brother. I can't really say where I went after I stormed out. I just started walking. I walked the entire grounds, maybe even twice. By the time I cleared my head, I had made my way to the main entrance of the golf course. It had started to rain slightly. And there was Thomas. Outside. Holding an umbrella. It was like he was waiting for me. He walked up to me, held the umbrella over the two of us, and said the words that I needed to hear most from someone, anyone.
Which were?
I'm sorry.
suggested we go back to his room and talk things over for a bottle of wine. I was exhausted from the walk and the anger, so I didn't need much convincing. We half-heartedly tried to settle our divorce paperwork, but we got to reminiscing. The wine took over, and the next thing you know, we were back to the old days.
Old days?
Anyway, Thomas dozed off like he always did. And that's when I realized I had made a huge mistake. I cleaned up the room the best I could, but I was still a bit, lightheaded, you could say. That's when you saw me in the parking lot with Vinny after dinner time.
Of course. That was the mess you made.
Vinny and I each have such a twisted history with Thomas. How could I be angry with Vinny for wanting to be on Criminal Minds after I had a tryst with Thomas so easily? I knew I owed Vinny an apology for getting so angry with him. After we talked over everything, all I wanted to do was go back to my room and take a shower and go straight to bed, which is exactly what I did.
But why did you go back into Thomas's room today? Surely you knew that could appear suspicious.
It was Elaine! She had the entire evening figured out, point by point. I was mortified. That's when I realized I forgot something. My lipstick. So I came back for it this afternoon. I didn't want her to be right, especially now that Thomas is dead.
I can't imagine what you've been going through. Thank you for telling us what happened last night. Sheriff, don't you think that's enough for right now?
I would love to go lay down, Jessica.
Just hold on a minute there. Second thought. Sure, go get some rest, but don't leave the grounds.
Oh,
You get it?
absolutely. Thank you so much, Sheriff.
Thank you for seeing some reason, Sheriff. I found it hard to believe that such a considerate woman like Maureen could be a killer.
For once, I am one step ahead of you, Mrs. Zepp. Floyd found the smoking gun.
Oh?
That's right. We found this on the driving range at the scene of the murder.
Max's handkerchief.
Looks like we found our killer.
End scene. Commercial.
Are you enjoying your evening here at Falcon Theatre? Our recently renovated space with its state-of-the-art lighting and sound systems is available for rent. It includes the stage, audience space, dressing rooms, and front-of-house space. Falcon's a great location for meetings, corporate events, presentations, and performances. We've never hosted a wedding, but there's a first time for everything. Picture the bride walking down the aisle to take center stage on her special day. Bar mitzvahs, christenings, bridge clubs, Cub Scout den meetings. The possibilities are endless. Visit falcontheatre.net to inquire about availability. Some restrictions apply, not valid with any other offer. Void where prohibited by law.
Elaine and Jessica are following Max, Mesker, and Floyd to the back office. Sue and the reporters are in hot pursuit, furiously snapping pictures because Elaine is not taking this quietly.
What an outrage! What a scandal! My Max is not the killer. Wait until you hear from my lawyer.
Oh, listen, lady, I've had enough of your hovering. Please give us some space to do our work.
And this is some fine work you're doing, Sheriff. You haven't even questioned everyone here at the tournament, have you? Have you asked me where I was last night? No! For all you know, I could be the killer. This is my confession. I did it. It was me. I killed Thomas Steele. I'm the murderer. Lock me up.
Now, Elaine, you must calm down. There's no need for such an uproar.
Max, don't say a word. I'm going to buy you the best representation money can buy.
Wait, please. Everyone, I'm Sue Montana, Miss Ray's agent. We'll be happy to take any questions in an hour or so after she's had time to calm down. I hope you understand. This is quite a shock. Thank you. Did you to see Elaine's performance? Her star power is undeniable.
Jessica, off the record, do you think Max is the killer?
No, I do not.
End scene. Later that afternoon, Jessica is sitting in the Weil Run hotel lobby with Seth over coffee. Jessica is staring into space, lost in thought.
Now, Jess, what makes you think Metzger has it wrong? Seems like an open and shut case to me.
Seth, didn't you say Thomas died from a blunt force trauma to the right side of his head?
Well, yes, I did, and the toxicology report indicated that he was incredibly drunk at the time. He must have been in room 437.
Room 437. What makes you say that?
Well, just now, before you joined me for coffee, I overheard some of the housekeeping staff gossiping about room 437 minibar being completely cleaned out in one evening. Sounds to me like that must be Thomas's room, given how drunk he was at the time of the murder.
Seth, Sheriff Metzger and I were in Thomas's room this morning. His minibar hadn't been touched. Besides, he was in room 521.
Well, that's why you're the mystery writer and not me.
End scene. It's evening. Sue is sitting at the bar with a Manhattan and a stack of papers that looks like a contract. She is waiting for Vinny, who saunters up to the bar, takes a seat next to her, and orders a drink.
Thanks for meeting with me despite the dark circumstances. We may be able to save your career yet.
I can't wait to hear what you've got for me.
Thomas's criminal suspicion contract. In it, there's a clause that says he and Maureen have equal creative control over the show. Now, how come your sister never took advantage of this?
Well, that's something you're going to have to ask Maureen.
Well, it stands to reason that since she couldn't stand to be in the same room as the guy, she didn't want to work on the same show with him either. It also stands to reason that Maureen assumes total creative control of the show now that Thomas is dead. Looks like criminal suspicion is getting that younger lead actor after all.
I'll drink to that.
And that's why you did it, isn't it, Vinny?
What are you talking about, Jessica?
Where were you last night between 11 o'clock and 12 a.m.?
I was here at the bar. Max eventually joined me. Now, it must take a real sicko to come here to the bar after bludgeoning someone to death.
Thank you, Vinny.
For what?
For being genuinely truthful for the first time this entire weekend. You see, Thomas wasn't killed between 11 o'clock and midnight. He was killed sometime earlier, between 9 and 10 o'clock last night.
Okay, so maybe I misunderstood what you were saying, which last I checked wasn't a criminal offense.
Yes, but there's more. Thomas sustained blunt force trauma. Let me get my script so there's no glare. Blunt force trauma to the right side of his head, which means that the murderer had to be left-handed, like you. And as far as I know, the coroner's report has not been released to the public. Only Thomas's murderer would know that he'd been bludgeoned to death.
I didn't mean to do it. It just happened. Something snapped. I'm not a criminal. Even good guys snap when they're pushed hard enough. Thomas has ruined my life and my sister's life, and he took away the one chance I had to reinvent my career. So yeah, Jessica, I did what needed to be done. After I talked to my sister last night, I went to Thomas's hotel room to talk to him. Maybe he'd be in a better mood after being with Maureen. Maybe I could convince him, show him that we could be co-stars. I could help his ratings. So I grabbed all the liquor from my minibar and invited him to a little party.
A little party on the driving range.
Yeah, we got pretty rowdy out there. At some point, I requested another audition, but he wouldn't even consider it. He wouldn't hear it. He said I was a has-been. He's always been so smug, so arrogant. Why was he overlooking me? I didn't mean to kill him. I really didn't. I just reached for my club to intimidate him, just to get him to listen, to be a man for once. He just kept yelling at me, telling me that I didn't have what it takes, and I snapped. I just had the golf club in my hand, and...
You struck him with the golf club.
One strong blow to the head was all it took.
You placed him in the golf cart and dropped him off at the first sand dune you could find. You were so intoxicated that you lost your way across the golf course and drove the cart into the lake. then came into the clubhouse bar, and that's when you thought of Max.
Max was perfect. He'd already threatened Thomas earlier that day at the luncheon. But you couldn't write a better motive for murder. And at some point I managed to grab his handkerchief so I could place it at the driving range.
And you were the one who changed the time for Max's wake-up call with the hotel concierge. You knew his room number. You were all on the same floor, after all.
It was so easy. I thought I could just act surprised when the body was discovered the next morning. How did you know, Mrs. Fletcher?
It's because you've never been that good of an actor, for starters.
Earlier today, when you were concerned about Maureen being the suspect, you said something about being sure we'd catch the right guy. It seemed oddly specific, then I knew that there had to be more to the story. Like you were trying to lead me to someone.
And unfortunately, it led you right to me.
It's the next morning, and Jessica, Seth, and now Metzger are seated together at Al's diner. The activity from the past few days is winding down, and the trio are able to sit at a table this time.
As both of you are my witness, I will never put Cabot Cove through another celebrity golf tournament again. even if the high school's roof were to fall in.
Yeah, it will be nice when the final bus takes these characters out of town.
And here comes the biggest character of them all.
Oh, good morning. I simply couldn't leave town without bidding you all adieu.
Yes, Elaine, I think we can all say that meeting you has been an unforgettable experience.
What a weekend. I've got to say, I think we've got a great idea on Elaine's next project. And we'd love your help, JB.
Oh, yes, what?
Well, it's a detective show, starring, of course, me. And I had such a grand time cracking the case with you this weekend. I simply have to do more. The working title is Homicide, Her Way. And you'll be the inspiration, Jessica. You didn't think you could get rid of me that easily, did you?
Elaine, Elaine, you're not only an accomplished actor and a budding detective, you're also something else.
And what's that, dear?
Yeah, exactly what Jess said.
Yes.
You're something else.
Oh, thank you.